Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's edition of Meta Market Weekly. I'm Justin, along with our co-host Fernando, and it's another crazy week. Things just get more and more interesting, but we've got some good things to talk about today, too. I think that it's important to also focus on the positive, and there's some kind of cool people who are stepping up and in a way doing what they can to, say no to all of this corruption, these centralized institutions, legacy institutions, you could call them, that are trying to bring crypto to its knees, which it's not going to do. But what's up, Fernando? How are you today?
Hey, Justin, I'm doing great. And I agree with you. I mean, things are getting crazier week by week.
Yeah.
But finally, I mean, we're starting to see some good news. And this is amazing. I think you wanted to start talking about what's going on with the CBDCs, no?
Yeah, I did. We've talked a lot about what's happening with, kind of the war on crypto, which obviously is very important for everybody to understand. But, I also wanted to just talk about some of the things that some people are doing to stop things like CBDCs. So, Ted Cruz has introduced a bill blocking the Fed from adopting CBDCs, which I think is amazing. This article says Ted Cruz introduced the bill which would prohibit the Federal Reserve System from moving forward with a direct-to-consumer central bank digital currency that would effectively be a dollar-based digital currency. The federal government has been researching the possibility of a CBDC under the executive order of Joe Biden, signed in March of 2022, which if you go back to, I think it was maybe our fifth or sixth episode, we talked about this specifically, this executive order, and kind of that this was coming. This is my favorite part of this. Ted Cruz says the federal government has no authority to unilaterally establish a central bank currency, Cruz said in announcing the bill's introduction. The bill goes a long way in making sure big government doesn't attempt to centralize or control cryptocurrency and instead allows it to thrive in the United States. We should be empowering entrepreneurs, enabling an innovation, and increasing individual freedom, not stifling it. What do you think about that, Fernando?
I completely agree. To be honest, the CBDC is a tool for control.
Yeah.
It is completely against freedom. And, if we don't act right now, if we don't fight against this and, they implement these CBDCs, the moment that these CBDCs come to life, it's going to be, it's going to give us a very hard time because like we've said before, they can program these CBDCs to control us.
Yeah.
If we eat too much meat one day, they can, they can just program your digital currency and, you already ate too much meat. You already bought too much toilet paper. You haven't spent your money in a year. It's going to expire. So it's pretty much what they're doing is they're controlling us with their currency. And, if we use their currency, they're just going to keep controlling us and we can kiss away our freedom. It's a terrible idea, to be honest. And obviously they're doing this because they want to control us. However, last podcast, we were talking about how the governor of South Dakota was talking about this, how she was vetoing the bill.
Yeah.
By the government. And it's great that apparently she's made some noise and more people are starting to talk about it, not just Senator Ted Cruz. Also, I actually have an article here, but I don't think I can share my screen while you're sharing yours. But the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, I'm not sure if I pronounced his name correct.
Yeah, Ron DeSantis. I actually have the article up on my screen right now. Yeah.
Oh, okay, awesome. Yeah, I was looking at my screen. So yeah, pretty much he's also he just announced that he wants to block the centralized digital currency, the CBDC in Florida, and hopefully other governors and other people from government are listening to this and paying close attention because this is this is a revolution that's happening right now.
Yeah.
And even though the government right now doesn't seem like they're the best people in control, they're still good Americans. They're still good people in charge that they're fighting for to make the difference, including the governor of South Dakota, the governor of Florida, Ted Cruz. There's people that are fighting for our freedom. So I mean, it's not all lost. I know that things look a little bit dark right now, but it's always darkest before dawn. So it might it might get a little darker. I don't know, but definitely we're starting to see a lot of people stand up and to acknowledge that a CBDC is a terrible idea. And hopefully, just like this week, in the coming months, we'll start to see better good news, and eventually this idea of tyranny through a CBDC will end and the bill would not pass.
Yeah, and each and every one of you can participate in that revolution by educating yourself and by choosing decentralized cryptocurrency and not CBDC. I mean, I think that's what comes down to it, because my personal trust and faith in the political system and getting things like this passed is very low. But I think that at the end of the day, what really it comes down to is people accepting it or not. If they were to create a CBDC, are you going to participate in that or not? And that is really exercising that individual freedom that you have. So I think that that's what everybody can do this on this call, or on this who's listening to this, is stick to your principles, and regardless of who tells you to do what, stand up for what you believe in, the same way that people all over the world stood up against COVID and the vaccine and all of that crap, and refused to wear masks and all those things. That's the same thing that we have to do here, is we have to resist in that way, and not allow for that to happen. And I think this all ties in at the same time to what's happening with all of with the collapse of the legacy financial system, and these bank collapses. People are realizing, and they're starting to understand why Bitcoin and why cryptocurrency and why blockchain exists. And it's cool to see. I've had some cool conversations about that lately.
Yeah, I completely agree. To be honest, last couple of weeks, we've seen, I think already like 4 or 5 major banks collapsing.
Yep.
And, the narrative back a couple of months ago was that crypto was bad because we had the collapse of FTX, and we had the collapse of Luna and some other projects like Celsius and Voyager, which, I mean, I agree, this is bad. But the reason why they collapse and the reason why it's bad is because all these systems that are collapsing, they're centralized systems. So what this means is that the rules for these systems are not clear. We just put people in charge, and we expect these people that are in charge to do the best with the power given to them. So I mean, that's terrible, because at the end of the day, the CEO can change, and the new CEO can have a different narrative, and their vision might be different, might not be aligned with the values of their customers and the citizens. So this is what we're fighting. I mean, I don't think we're fighting the government, because at the end of the day, we need a way of control, a way of organizing resources, finance, all that good stuff. What we're really fighting here is the centralized system. A system that is decided by one person or two person, or it's just a tiny group of people that are making rules for everyone. And at this time we elect one president, and he increases the interest rates and he prints money, and then 6 years later or 4 years later he leaves the office, and then a new guy, he's in lead now, he takes the crown and he makes different rules. And no one's to blame. At the end of the day, no one can own up to the mistakes that are happening, because the moment that person leaves office, he's protected by the Constitution, and no one's responsible. So this is pretty much what we're fighting. We're fighting a centralized system by creating decentralized technology, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, DAOs, which are decentralized autonomous organizations, where the rules and laws are well established. So this is what we need to implement now. We need to implement a new financial system where the rules are clear, and also in a government where the rules are clear and there's no room for corruption. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think what's incredibly important is that we need to stop, we need to unify, we need to come together, we need to realize that we're the enemy that we're fighting is not the guy walking down the street. It's not the dude who doesn't understand what crypto is. It's not the person who may be still invested in a 401k, or someone who thinks that crypto is bad. It's none of those people. It's actually, like you said, the centralized system. And it's the people within that system that actually aren't even elected. It's the ones that are appointed. It's the ones that are have these lifelong careers in government that are, you can't vote out of office. These are the people that are making these decisions. And we have to take it upon ourselves as people to change this for ourselves. That's about taking our power back. We've given too much power to the government, and we have to take that power back, and we have to take steps and take responsibility for our own lives and our own choices. And that is what the cryptocurrency community is doing. I think we talked about this a little bit on the last show, but Charles Hoskins, the founder of Cardano, stated that he believes that we should decouple from the banks, and I agree with him. That is the direction that we need to go. Is we need to go to cryptocurrency being able to stand on its own and really creating this new financial system that we're talking about. And I think it's happening, and it's really exciting to be alive. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the future. But I know that you also wanted to talk about Coinbase, my most favorite exchange on the planet. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know.
The SEC is now going after them, which is just hilarious.
Let me see if I can go ahead and share my screen.
Totally.
Okay, it seems like you disabled participants from screen sharing.
Yeah, go ahead now.
Okay, one moment. There we go.
There we go.
So apparently this happened on Wednesday. So Wednesday we had the release of the interest rates, which we had an increase of 25 points. This is usually good for the market whenever we have an increase of 25 points, or it's just stable or it decreases. We usually see it reflected on the market. Markets usually pick up, which they did on Wednesday, but almost immediately after the market started picking up, we had the release of these news from the SEC, well, actually from Coinbase, where the SEC gave Coinbase a Wells notice. So pretty much the SEC is going after Coinbase now, which Coinbase is the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the United States. I think they've been operating for 8 years or more, and they've always followed all the guidelines within the SEC. They've always worked hand by hand, and it is ridiculous that now they're attacking Coinbase. I actually follow the CEO of Coinbase on Twitter, and I'm gonna show you guys what he tweeted. And I'm gonna read it out loud for you guys. So 2 years ago, the SEC reviewed our business in detail and approved Coinbase to go public. Our S1 clearly explained our asset listing process and included 57 references to staking. Coinbase runs a rigorous asset review process and has rejected more than 90% of assets that have applied to be listed on the platform. So this is actually a bigger thread. It's a long one. If you want, at the end of the video, I can include the link so everyone can read it to full extent. So pretty much, after the SEC agreeing with Coinbase to sell cryptocurrencies for staking, for being a legal entity in the United States, now they're saying that they're not. So, I mean, the SEC is going back on their own words. They already approved Coinbase. They approved a lot of crypto. They had approved Ripple before, which Ripple is currently battling against the SEC. I think they've been battling for like 3 or 4 years, right?
Yeah, it's been a while. I just think it's funny, you know. I just think to myself, what did the Coinbase, the government's buddy, the most centralized and like regulated cryptocurrency exchange in the world.
Yeah.
And in my personal opinion, they're horrendous, but that's another story. What did they do to piss off the SEC? Like, who said what to who? Because this is just like, it's crazy. It's crazy. And it just goes to show you that there's a war happening. There is a war happening in the world, and this is way bigger than all of us. And it's all about keeping control, because the legacy system is slipping out of that control.
Yeah.
Don't want people getting into crypto, because this is the tool that they have. What they can do is they can try and take away the ability for someone to easily get out of fiat and into crypto. We call it an on-ramp. And this is what they can control. And this is what they're trying to do with this, because the Coinbase is a huge company. I mean, it's like you said, it's the biggest exchange in the United States, and it's probably the most well-known. And, you know, lots of people use it, and they cater to, you know, brand new people who don't know anything about cryptocurrency. So I just think it's ridiculous, and this is the reason why, you know, the legacy system trying to regulate a decentralized system that is literally there to destroy the legacy system and eliminate corruption is never going to work. It's just not, because this is the result that we get. So yeah, it's I don't know, it's interesting to see. What I actually saw was an article on MSN that talked a little bit about Coinbase is actually looking for a new corporate headquarters, an incorporation outside the United States in another country, because they basically,
I read that. Yeah.
The CEO basically said that the regulatory environment is so impossible here that we don't even want to be here anymore. So that just goes to show.
And I agree with everything you said, and I don't think they got into an argument with the SEC, or you know, they were fighting against each other. I believe, and I more than believe, I know the reason why this is happening is because at the beginning, just like everyone who hears from Bitcoin for the first time, you don't understand what it is. You just hear Bitcoin and you're like, that web currency that, you know, sounds like from a video game or whatever. And, you know, you're like, okay, whatever, sell it. But you're gonna have to pay taxes from it. So from my perspective, that's what happened, you know, like just gonna pay taxes like everyone else, and that's it. And then 8 years later, they realized, like, wait a minute, this digital currency is the final nail in our coffin.
Yeah.
You know, because why? Because the US dollar is backed by nothing. We're printing money out of thin air, and we are as corrupt as it gets. And this new system is immutable, is transparent, it's decentralized. And when they realized, you know, what Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies were really about, we're like, wait a minute, you know. And I feel like that's what's happening right now. But now that they understand the power of cryptocurrencies, they're going full war against the system. However, I feel like it's already too late for them, because banks are collapsing. They're printing trillions of dollars out of thin air. So people are drawing their own conclusions now. They're scratching their heads and they're like, wait a minute, you're saying cryptocurrency is bad, while at the same time your banks worth trillions of dollars are collapsing, and you're printing money out of thin air. So, like you said, we're going through a major war right now, and hopefully in the coming weeks, we're gonna see some positive news.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, I just think it's up to us to just make it happen. And yeah, absolutely. I think the most important thing for people to understand, I get this question all the time about our project, about cryptocurrency in general, about so on and so forth. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen if the SEC does this? Or oh my gosh, what's going to happen if this regulatory body does this? Or oh my gosh, the newest thing I was hearing the other day was I don't know if you've heard about this ISO 20022 thing. There are people that are spreading this information and basically saying that it's like if you are not an ISO crypto compliant crypto, then you're going to be shut down and no one's going to ever use you. So the thing is here is people have to understand how cryptocurrency works. Like you've said many times, Fernando, cryptocurrency is decentralized. You have to be able to do what we call a 51% attack. You have to hack all of the computers on a relative blockchain at the same time within 10 minutes to be able to take over the network and be able, or you have to physically shut down every single computer that's on the network. This is impossible. I mean, maybe a quantum computer can do it. I shouldn't say impossible, but it's very not probable. And that's what people have to understand is it doesn't matter what happens. I'll give you a very good example. China has effectively banned cryptocurrency. I know people personally who live in China and use crypto, Bitcoin all day long. So this is the beauty of it. This is why Satoshi created this technology, because it can't be stopped. It cannot be stopped. And I think that if Satoshi was still around, maybe they are, and we just don't know it. I think that they would be very happy right now because what they've created is exactly the result that they wanted. And so that's what's really important for people to understand, I think. Do you have anything to add to that?
I completely agree. I mean, to be honest, it would be nearly impossible to shut down all cryptocurrencies.
Yes.
And also, just because something is ISO approved does not mean it's going to work. I mean, I've heard that I think Stellar and EOS, they're ICO approved. They're one of the worst blockchains that I've used. I mean, we don't even know if it's going to work. We don't even know if it's going to scale. So just because it has an ISO stamp saying that it's approved, it does not mean that the technology is ready or it's ever going to be ready or if it's going to work or anything. So
well,
we need
to let me explain this ISO thing to everybody really quick, because this is an important thing. This has come up a million times before, and I want to explain what this is. ISO 20022 is a change in the way that messaging between banks happen in the SWIFT system. Okay, so we're talking about a legacy banking system to begin with. So we're not talking about decentralized cryptocurrency, okay? So why are certain coins compliant? What I've heard is that Ripple is, XLM is, and there's one or two other ones. I can't remember. I think ARG or something like that. Argo maybe. And so basically what that means is they're compliant because those specific blockchains use the same type of messaging system to send transactions on the blockchain that the SWIFT system is changing over to. Okay, this is a global thing that's happening. The reason why they're doing it in the SWIFT system is simply because all these different countries and all these different banking systems use different messaging systems, and it's really confusing within SWIFT. And so to make it compliant with the entire world, they're changing it to one system. Makes sense, right? In their world. So ISO compliant cryptos are these. And what does that mean? There's all this misinformation going on. And that means if you're not ISO compliant, you're gonna be completely shut down. No one's gonna take you, and so on and so forth. And the answer to that question is that's total bogus. It's not. Number one, the legacy banking system, as you can see, hates cryptocurrency. They're not talking about integrating Ripple or XL or Stellar into interbank payments in the SWIFT system. Second of all, in my personal opinion, that shouldn't even be happening anyways. Why do we want that? That's just centralization of a legacy system that is dying. We're creating something new. So, if you're one of those people out there that's worrying about ISO 20022, I wouldn't even talk about it, because I just went to a cryptocurrency conference and there wasn't a single person talking about this because nobody cares.
I agree. To be honest, what you just said sounds to me like ISO is a way to certify that you can still centralize the power and you can keep being corrupt.
Yeah.
Like that's what it sounds to me. I mean, I don't
Right.
know 100%, but that's what it sounded to me. Like if you're ISO approved, it means that we can still use the same old system to be corrupt and to centralize the power.
Yeah, man, that's exactly what it is. So why the heck are we talking about it? Like it's just not, it's nothing to be concerned about. And like I said, at the end of the day, this is the power of blockchain technology, everybody. This cannot be shut down. It doesn't matter what the government wants to do, unless the government wants to nuke the entire world, which at that point, we don't even care about cryptocurrency anymore because we're all dead. It's not going to happen. It's not possible. It doesn't matter what they do. It's like alcohol in the prohibition times in the United States. They banned alcohol. You couldn't use it. You would be thrown in jail for years and years and years if you were caught with it. There was a thriving underground alcohol, culture going on. That's the same thing with cryptocurrency. We've seen it in Ukraine. We've seen it in China. We've seen it in many different places. And this is the beauty of it. Unless they shut the internet down, which is also very difficult, that's the only way that it's going to happen. And that's why Web3 is incredible, because we are building a internet that is based on blockchain. And what that means is it's even more powerful, because if you take this technology and you're able to build out a internet that's based on blockchain, then it doesn't matter if the main internet that we have right now, the legacy internet, goes down. We'll still be able to access an internet, which is incredible. Now, is Web3 that kind of blockchain internet available in the amazing functionality that legacy Web 2 is today? It is not. It's in its infancy, but it's incredibly amazing, and that's the beauty about blockchain. The applications are endless. So with that, I know that we have to wrap up today. It's a short one, but we wanted to get it in because there was a lot of important stuff to talk about. These weeks are going by fast. Fernando, do you have any final words?
Just, everyone watching our podcast, if you like our content, please subscribe. Please click the subscribe button, give us a like, and drop comments. If you want to talk about anything, just drop a comment. Let us know what you would like to talk about on the next podcast.
Yep.
And hope to see you again here next week.
Yeah, hit that subscribe button, like, share, helps us out. Thank you so much, everybody. Have an awesome, awesome weekend, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.